Hi dear students, myself Lieutenant Jafar Ali, Assistant Professor, PG Department of Commerce, Government College Malappuram. In today's video class session, I would like to discuss investment accounts. This part of lecture is meant to second semester MCOM students as a part of their advanced corporate accounting. This lecture covers the basics of investments, investment accounts, cum interest and ex interest quotations, accounting entries, and columnar investment accounts. Before coming to the part of investment accounts, first of all, we have to discuss about the investments. What about investments? Investments are the funds invested in various securities, that may be government and semi-government bonds, debentures of local authorities, and debentures and shares of companies. So, investments are simply the funds which are invested in various securities. Securities may be in the form of the securities issued by the government, like government bonds, debentures of local authorities, debentures and shares of companies. How can we define the term investment? The term investment can be defined as assets held by an enterprise for earning income by way of dividends, interest and rentals for capital appreciation or for other benefits to the investing enterprise. This definition is very comprehensive regarding the investment. So, any asset held by any enterprise, what may be the purpose of holding assets? Maybe for earning income. The income may be in the form of dividend, interest or rent, or the purpose of investment may be for capital appreciation or any other benefits that is expected by the investor from the assets. What are the various types of investments? With regards to investment accounts, we are dealing the case of securities as the assets. So, we have two types of securities: fixed interest securities and variable yield securities. What about fixed interest securities? In case of fixed interest securities, the investor is expecting a constant fixed income from the investment. For example, by investing in debentures or bonds, the investor can expect a certain constant amount of return from the investment. Second, variable yield securities. In case of variable yield securities, the income derived from the investment are not fixed. It depends upon the profitability and various other factors relating to the issuing company of the investment or the debentures. For example, share capital. In case of share capital, the company is distributing dividends to the shareholders only if the company is having sufficient profit for the accounting period. In case of investments, we have two different values. First one is face value, second one market price. What about the case of face value? Face value, actually the value fixed by the issuing company of a security at the time of issue of the securities. For example, a company is issuing equity shares for rupees 100 each. So, rupees 100, that is the face value of the investment. At the same time, market price or issue price, that may be different. In case of market price is the price at which the securities can be purchased from the open market. It depends on various factors like demand and supply forces. So, the market price may or may not be equal to face value. That is why we have three different situations in case of transactions relating to investment. The first one, par value. What about the par value? If the face value of a security is equal to that of the market price, both the values are same. We can say that the investment or the securities are issued or purchased at par value. Second one, premium. What's the case of premium? In case of premium, the market price of the securities are more than that of the face value of the securities. For example, the shares having a face value of rupees 100, that is purchased from the market for rupees 120. In this case, rupees 20, the difference between 120 and 100, rupees 20 is the premium. So we can say the investment is at a premium. Third one, discount. In this case, market price is less than that of the face value of the securities. For example, the shares of a company of rupees 100, that is purchased by the investor from the market for rupees 90. There is a difference of rupees 10. This rupees 10 is the discount. So these are the various three forms of market prices. Then how to treat the investment in balance sheet of a business concern? So here the investment may be either fixed asset or trade investment, or it is current asset or marketable securities. What about the nature of investment, whether it is fixed asset or current asset? That depends on the term the investor he holds the securities for the period. For example, the intention of the investor is to hold the securities for a longer period of time with an intention to receive income from the investment. In such a case, the investment is regarded as fixed assets. At the same time, the intention of the buyer of an investment is to frequently buy and sell the securities in the market for getting the profit on difference of the prices of the securities. In such a case, it is deemed as the current asset. So investments, it may be either deemed as the fixed asset or current assets of a concern. Next, what about the investment accounts? Investment accounts are same as that of any other asset account. We know the case of an asset account. An asset account, like any other account, have two sides, debit side and credit side. On debit side of the asset account, what we are doing? So we will show the opening balance of the assets. If there is any purchase during the accounting period, that should be debited to the asset account. If there is any depreciation chargeable for the asset, that should be credited to asset account. And if there is any sale of the asset during the accounting period, that should be credited. That is the case of an asset account. In the same way, we are preparing the investment account with the two sides of debit and credit. A separate investment account opened for each kind of securities. If you have more than one category of securities, we have to prepare separate investment account for each and every security. For example, I am being an investor holding preference shares in a company and debentures of another company. So I have to keep two different investment accounts. First one is share account and second one is debenture account. So each investment should be shown in separate investment accounts. If large number of investments are there, separate investment ledger is prepared for all investment accounts. If you are having multiple investments, and in such a case, we can keep an investment ledger. Investment ledger simply is a set of investment accounts. So every investment can be recorded in investment ledger in each and every investment account pages. What about the transactions in investment account? On purchase of investment, we have to debit the investment account and credit the cash or bank account. While purchasing investment or the securities, the investor has to debit the investment account and credit the cash or bank account. So what amount should be shown in this entry? That is very important. Here the amount should be equal to purchase price plus expenses. With regard to purchase of any security, we have purchase price regarding the actual price of the security. And we may incur some additional expenditure for purchasing, for example, brokerage commission, etc. In such a case, the total cost of investment that should be always equal to purchase price and expenses. In case of sale of investments, debit the cash account and credit the investment account with the net proceeds realized. While we are selling any securities or any investment to a buyer, the entry should be in the account, debit the cash account and credit the investment account. Here the amount entered is equal to net proceeds realized. Net proceeds means the selling price minus selling expenses. Similarly, as in the case of purchase, in case of sales also, we have selling price and we may incur some expenditures for sale of the security. So the selling expenses should be deducted from the amount of the sales value. That's the case of sales. One more additional account we should have to keep in our investment account, that is interest or dividend account. The purpose of interest or dividend account, that is to record income derived from various investments. For example, we are holding debentures, we will get the interest, and also we are holding some preference shares, we are getting dividend. So we have to record these incomes in our books of accounts. So for that purpose, we can use investment or dividend account. So one interest or dividend account should be kept. There may be many investment accounts, but only one interest or dividend account. As we discussed earlier, in case if we have a lot of investments, for each and every investment we should have to keep separate investment account. But one interest or dividend account is required to record the interest or dividend income from any type of or any number of securities. That's the case of the interest or dividend account. So broadly we can say we have two types of accounts here, an investment account and an interest or dividend account. Next is the case of investment transactions. There are two types of transactions regarding investment. First one, cum dividend or cum interest quotation. Second one, ex interest or ex dividend quotation. So what about the case of cum dividend quotation? Cum dividend simply or cum interest simply we can say that is the purchase price or selling price of a security that is inclusive of the accrued interest or dividend on that securities. That is a simple meaning of the term cum dividend or cum interest quotation. Here seller charges price including dividend or interest accrued on security up to the date of sale. While selling an investment or a security by a seller, he is charging a price, he is charging the selling price that should be inclusive of the interest accrued to the date of sale. So for example, we are taking the case of an example, if the interest income of a debenture that accrues twice in a year, for example, on 30th September and 31st March. And we are purchasing the so-called security in June 1st. So what will happen there? Actually, the issuing company will distribute the interest on the security only twice in a year, that is 30th September and 31st March. Lastly, the investor received interest income on debenture on 31st March. Thereafter, on 1st June, he is selling the security to someone else. What happened? So, on 1st June of that particular year, after 31st March, then there will be 2 months, April and May. So, the interest for 2 months already due on that security. That's why while selling the security on June 1st, automatically the seller charge a price that is inclusive of 2 months interest. So the selling price of the security will be equal to the value of security and 2 months interest due to the date of June 1. It should be split into the normal price and dividend or interest accrued. While recording the transactions of purchase or sales of investments, we should have to record the transactions both in investment account and in interest or dividend account. That's why in the case of cum interest quotations, we should have to split the total investment or total purchase or sales price into two as the normal price and the dividend or interest accrued. In the previous example, the selling price, for example, on 1st June 2019, for example, the selling price was rupees 120. This rupees 120 is inclusive of the interest for 2 months, April and May. So we have to distribute or we have to split this amount into two as the normal price of the investment and the interest accrued to the date of the sales. On purchase, the normal price is debited to investment account and the dividend or interest accrued is debited to dividend or interest account. while purchasing any investment by the purchaser, he has to debit the normal price to the investment account and the interest accrued till the date of purchase in dividend or interest account. On sales, the normal price is credited to investment account and a dividend or interest accrued is credited to dividend or interest account. Similarly, as in the case of purchase, in sales also the normal price of investment is credited to investment account and the interest or dividend income accrued to the date of sales, that should be credited to interest or dividend account. That is the mechanism of the investment transactions under the cum dividend quotation. Second one is the case of ex dividend or ex interest quotation. So, cum interest means the price inclusive of interest. Then automatically ex interest transaction means the selling or purchase price that is excluding interest or dividend accrued. That is simple meaning of the ex interest dividend or quotation. Purchaser has to pay to the seller the accrued interest up to the date of purchase in addition to price paid for the investment. In this case, the purchaser has to pay an additional amount in addition to the normal purchase price of the investment. For example, in the same example that we discussed earlier, the price of security is rupees 120. Now, rupees 120 is the price of security while purchasing by a purchaser. Okay. Then rupees 120 is ex interest quotation. That means rupees 120 is only the purchase price or normal price, that is exclusive of the interest. In addition, he has to pay interest for 2 months, for April and May months. That is the case of the ex interest or ex dividend quotations. Unless otherwise stated, price quotation will be cum interest quotation. In the absence of information regarding the nature of transaction, whether it is ex interest or cum interest, we can assume that the quotation should be in cum interest quotation, or the transaction that is inclusive of the interest or dividend. We have to treat accordingly. What about the accounting entries in investment accounts? In books of buyer, the first entry, that is for purchase of investment. While purchasing investment from a seller, the accounting entry shall be investment account debtor, dividend or interest account debtor to bank account. The capital cost is debited to investment account. The interest or dividend accrued to the date of purchase, that is also debited to dividend or interest account, then to bank account. Bank account is credited or cash account is credited. The second accounting entry on receipt of dividend or interest. In a fixed intervals, the issuing company of securities may distribute dividend or interest. So, while receiving interest or dividend for an investment by the purchaser, we can pass the journal entry bank account debtor to dividend or interest account. Bank account is debited and dividend or interest account is credited. Third one, for accrued interest. The accrued interest may arise in case where the due date of interest and the closing date of accounting are different. For example, the interest payable by the company twice in a year. For example, 30th June and 31st December for 6 months each, 30th June and 31st December. In this case, on 31st December, the company will distribute interest or dividend to the investor. But the investing concern, that is closing their accounts on 31st March of the year, then what will happen? So, while closing the account on 31st March, there will be interest accrued for 3 months from the date of last due date of interest, that is 31st December. From 31st December to 31st March, there are 3 months. So, 3 months interest will be due on that security. Such accrued interest should be recorded in our books of account by passing the accounting entry accrued interest account debtor to interest account. So, here the investment account is debited with the capital cost. What is the meaning of capital cost? Capital cost is equal to purchase price plus purchase expenses minus interest accrued. In case of a cum interest quotation, the capital cost is equal to purchase price, the actual price of the security, plus any expenses incurred for purchasing the security like commission, brokerage, etc., minus interest accrued till the date of purchase. But in the case of an ex-interest quotation, the capital cost is equal to purchase price plus purchase expenses. There is no need for deducting the amount of interest accrued till the date. At the close of the accounting period, balance in dividend or interest account is transferred to profit and loss account. At the end of the accounting period, if there is any balance in dividend or interest account, that should be transferred to profit and loss account by passing the journal entry dividend or interest account debtor to profit and loss account. These are the accounting entries in books of the buyer. Next is the case of the accounting entries in books of the seller. One investment is sold while selling an investment. On sales of the investment, what is the accounting entry? Here bank account debtor to investment account to dividend or interest account. Here bank account is debited with the actual amount received by the seller for the sale of investment. The investment account, that is the actual sales price. We will discuss what is the meaning of actual sales price. And dividend or interest account is also credited while sale of the investment. On receipt of dividend or interest, while receiving any interest or dividend on the investment, the accounting entry is bank account debtor to dividend or interest account. On profit on sale of investment, while selling an investment, there may be either profit or loss or no profit or loss. These are the situations. If there is any profit on sale of investment, simply we can say if the selling price of investment is more than that of the purchase price of investment, automatically there will be some profit on sale of investment. In such a case, the accounting entry is investment account debtor to profit and loss account. At the same time, if we have loss on sale of investment, that means the purchase price is more than that of the sales price of the investment, there will be a loss on sale of investment. The accounting entry is just reversed. The entry is profit and loss account debtor to investment account. P&L account is debited, investment account is credited. So what about the meaning of actual sales price? While passing the first entry on sale of investment, we are crediting the investment account with the actual sales price. What is the meaning of actual sales price? Actual sales price in case of a cum interest quotation, that is equal to sales price minus sales expenses minus accrued interest. But in the case of an ex-interest quotation, as there is no accrued interest, the actual sales price is equal to sales price minus sales expenses. So these are the entries required in the books of the seller for the investments. Then we can discuss some examples, how to prepare the investment accounts and how to pass the accounting entries, how to compute the cost of investment, interest accrued, etc. A simple example we can see. On 31st January 2019, Mr. X purchased 4 6% debentures of rupees 100 each from Y, Mr. Y, for cash at 110.5% cum interest. The interest being payable on 1st June and 1st December each year. So in this case, the company, the issuing company of the debenture is distributing or paying the interest twice in a year, that's on 1st June and 1st December of every year. Here, the investor is purchasing the investment. Mr. X is purchasing the investment from the seller, Mr. Y, on 31st January 2019. Number of debentures purchased are 4. The securities purchased here are 6% debentures of rupees 100 each. The purchase price, the amount payable by Mr. X to Mr. Y, that is at 110.5%. That means rupees 100 into 110.5%. So we can say rupees 110.5. Record transactions in books of X and Y if each party had to pay bank commission of 0.25% on face value. So here, in addition to the actual purchase price, both the parties, both X and Y or buyer and seller, are incurring an expenditure, that is bank commission, of 0.25% on face value of the security. Here we have two different cases. What shall be the accounting entries in case of cum interest quotations and what shall be in case of ex interest quotations. So this is a case of the example. Then come to the calculation. In books of X, if the transaction is at cum interest or cum interest quotation. So here Mr. X is purchasing 4 debentures at a cost of rupees 110.5 each. So simply it is 110.5 into 4, that is rupees 442. Add bank commission. Bank commission is payable both by Mr. X and Mr. Y on each and every transaction. So rupees 400, that is 4 into 100, that is the face value. The commission amount is payable on the basis of the face value of the debenture, that is rupees 100. So 100 debentures of number 4 at 0.25%, that is rupee 1. So the total cost of investment is rupees 443. 443 is the amount spent by the purchaser for purchasing these 4 debentures from Mr. Y. As it is a cum interest quotation, this rupees 443 is inclusive of accrued interest. Here in this example, as we seen earlier, here the purchase is made by Mr. X on 31st January 2019, and lastly the interest due on these securities on 1st December. So after 1st December to 31st January, we have 2 months, a full month of December and a full month of January. So 2 months interest are accrued till date of the purchase by Mr. X. So here we are deducting the amount of interest for 2 months, for the December and January months. Rupees 400 is the face value of the debenture, 6% is the rate of interest for 2 months, 400 into 6% into 2 by 12. So rupees 4 is the accrued amount of interest. This amount of rupees 4 is deducted from the total cost of investment, that is rupees 439. So we can say that the total purchase price paid by Mr. X is rupees 443, that is inclusive of rupees 4 interest accrued for 2 months. So the actual value of investment is only rupees 439. So 439 should be debited to the investment account, and rupees 4 that should be debited to the interest or dividend account. So just we can check the journal entry. On 2019 January 31, investment account is debited rupees 439, interest account is debited with rupees 4. The total amount payable by the purchaser, that is credited to cash or bank account, that is rupees 443. This is the case of cum interest in book of X. Next, in books of Y, cum interest. What may be the accounting entry for the purpose? Here also Mr. Y is a seller and he is selling 4 debentures at rupees 110.5 each. So rupees 442 is the selling price of 4 debentures. Here also he has to pay bank commission on the face value at 0.25%, 400 into 0.25%, that is rupee 1, total cost is rupees 441. Here 2 months interest already accrued for the investment for the month of December and January. So the same amount of interest, 400 into 6% into 2 months, 2 by 12, that is rupees 4. So 441 minus 4, value of investment is rupees 437. Here the amount received by Mr. Y for selling the securities to Mr. X, that is rupees 441. This 441 is inclusive of the interest for 2 months, that is rupees 4. That is why the actual value of investment only rupees 437. Here the transaction is regarding the sales. We are passing the accounting entry, cash or bank account debtor, the total amount received by Mr. Y from Mr. X, that is rupees 441. And we are crediting the investment account with the actual cost of investment. The actual cost of investment is rupees 437. And we are crediting the interest account also with rupees 4. That is the accrued amount of interest for the 2 months. Next, in the books of X, if the transaction is at a X interest quotation, then as we discussed earlier in case of X interest quotations, the purchase price or selling price that is inclusive of the interest accrued. So the actual value of the investment is charged by the seller for the investment. The buyer has to pay an additional amount for the interest accrued for the period. So here, just look at this slide. Purchase price of 4 debentures at 110.5 each. Rupees 442 is the purchase price of 4 debentures. And he has to pay bank commission of 0.25% on rupees 400, that is rupee 1. Total cost of investment is rupees 443. Here 443 is the actual price of security, that is excluding the amount of interest. So, Mr. X has to pay an additional amount of interest to purchase this particular investment. So, the accounting entry on 2019 January 31, investment account debtor, that is the actual cost of investment rupees 443, interest account debtor, the same amount as we computed earlier, the interest account is rupees 4, the total payment by Mr. X, that is credited to cash account or bank account to cash or bank rupees 447. The next in books of Y, if the transaction is at X interest quotation. Here Mr. Y is selling 4 debentures to Mr. X at X interest quotation. That means Mr. Y is getting an additional amount for the interest accrued from Mr. X regarding this transaction. Selling price of 4 debentures at 110.5 each, that is rupees 442, less the amount of bank commission 0.25% of the face value, that is rupee 1, total cost is rupees 441. Here 441 is the actual cost of the investment or debentures that is being sold by Mr. Y to Mr. X. So, in book of Mr. Y, as this quotation is X interest quotation, we are passing the entry. On 31st January 2019, cash or bank account is debited. The actual amount received by Mr. Y from Mr. X, that is inclusive of interest, rupees 445. Then to investment account, the actual cost of investment, that is rupees 441 as we computed earlier. Then to interest account rupees 4. So 441 in respect of actual cost of investment and rupees 4 in respect of interest accrued. Total amount of rupees 445 is receivable by Mr. Y in this transaction. So these are the case of the accounting entries to be passed in the books of buyer and seller of investment, both in cum interest and ex interest quotations. Then how can we differentiate between cum interest and ex interest transactions? These are the major differences. First one, in case of cum interest quotations, the purchase price includes interest accrued up to the date of purchase. Here the purchase price is inclusive of the interest accrued, or purchase price is equal to the normal price of the investment plus interest accrued. But in case of ex interest quotation, purchase price does not include interest accrued. Here the purchase price is without adding the amount of interest accrued or without including the amount of interest. Second one, in case of cum interest quotation, nothing is payable for interest accrued. There is no more payment by the buyer for purchasing an investment regarding the interest accrued for that investment. But in case of ex interest quotation, an additional amount is payable for interest accrued. In addition to the normal price of investment, the buyer has to pay an additional amount for purchasing the investment. Third one, in case of cum interest quotation, purchase price is more than real price. Here purchase price is more than real price only because that the price is including interest. So that is more than that of the actual purchase price, actual real price. But in the case of ex interest quotation, purchase price is the real price. Here the purchase price is always equal to real price, that is without adding any additional amount to the purchase price. So these are the differences between these two things, cum interest quotations and ex interest quotations. Next, how to balance the investment account. How can we balance or close an investment account? When all of an investment is sold, difference between two sides of investment account will be profit or loss on sales. It's the normal case if all the investment have been sold. For example, we are purchasing 1000 debentures and all these 1000 debentures are sold in the same accounting period. So there is no any balance of investment. In this case, we can very easily take the balance of investment between the two sides of the investment. Just if we are comparing the debit and credit side of investment account, then balance is taken, that should be profit or loss on sales, that should be transferred to profit and loss account. At the same time, when only a part is sold, cost of remaining investment will be brought down as a balance in investment account and difference between two sides will be profit or loss on sales. At the same time, we are selling only a part of investment that in our hands. For example, we are having 1000 debentures in our hand and we are selling only 800 debentures during that accounting year. So what is happening? Here the sales transaction is regarding only with the 800 debentures. Still there are 200 debentures unsold in the hands of the investor. That 200 debentures should be carried forward to next accounting year. So we are taking this 200 debentures as the balance carried down in the account, and thereafter we are balancing the account. Still there is any difference regarding the amount of investment, that is deemed as either profit or loss on sale of investment. Okay, then profit on sale of investment means simply if the credit amount is greater than that of the debit amount. If credit side is more than that of debit side, the difference is deemed as the profit on sale of investment. At the same time, if the debit side is more than that of credit side, the difference is deemed as the loss on sale of investment. That's the case of balancing of investment account. Just we can check how to prepare investment account. The second example. Here in this scenario, on 1st June 2018, Mr. A purchased rupees 9,000 5% debentures of rupees 100 each in X Limited at rupees 105 come interest. Interest being payable on 31st March and 30th September each year. These dates are very important. Here, Mr. A being an investor, he is purchasing certain debentures. Rupees 9,000 debentures. Rupees 9,000 is the face value of the debentures. Actually, the face value per debenture is rupees 100. So we can say there are 90 debentures. 9,000 divided by 100. So 90 debentures have been purchased. Total face value is rupees 9,000, or the face value per debenture is rupees 100. The debentures are having 5% rate of interest. 5% is the annual rate of return or interest payable on the debentures. These debentures have been purchased by Mr. A at a price of rupees 105. Rupees 100 is the face value. The market value is rupees 105. That is, the market value is at a premium. It is come interest, that is inclusive of the interest due. Then interest being payable by the issuing company or X Limited twice in a year in this example, that is 31st March and 30th September respectively. These two dates are important regarding the interest payment by the issuing company. While purchasing these debentures of rupees 9,000, Mr. A is incurring an expense on stamps of rupees 80. Rupees 80 to be paid by Mr. A for purchasing this investment. That's the first transaction. Then come to second transaction. On 1st November 2018, Mr. A sold rupees 3,000 debentures at rupees 107 come interest. Out of rupees 9,000 debentures, rupees 3,000 debentures have been sold by Mr. A on 1st November 2018 at a price of rupees 107. That is also at a come interest, including the amount of interest. In between these two date of transactions, for example 1st June 2018 and 1st November 2018, in between these two dates, one date is very significant, that is 30th September. 30th September is happening in between 1st June and 1st November. So on 30th September, the company X Limited will distribute interest on these debentures to Mr. A. That is very important while preparing the investment account. Then brokerage is payable on both transactions at 1/8% on nominal value. On both transactions, that means while purchasing and selling, on both the cases, Mr. A has to pay a brokerage at 1/8% on the face value or nominal value of the debenture. Here we have to prepare the investment account and the interest account on 31st December 2018. Here we are preparing two accounts, investment account and the interest account. Then how we will prepare these two accounts in our books of account or in books of Mr. A. Before coming to the accounts, first of all we have to compute what shall be the cost of investment and interest accrued while purchasing the debentures on 1st June and also while selling the debentures on 1st November, and also we have to check whether there is any profit or loss on sale of investment. These three things have been done in this particular slide. So first of all, while purchasing rupees 9,000 debentures on 1st June, as in the example, we have seen that the debentures have been purchased by Mr. A at rupees 105. Rupees 105 is the price of debentures that Mr. A should make. Then here rupees 9,000 is the value of the debentures purchased. So the face value of debenture is rupees 100, but the debentures have been purchased by Mr. A at rupees 105. So we are computing the amount as 9,000 divided by 100 for getting the number of debentures purchased. 9,000 divided by 100, that is 90. Then 90 into 105, that is rupees 9,450 rupees. That is the amount paid for purchase of these debentures. Then add brokerage. For this transaction, on the face value of rupees 9,000, Mr. A has to pay brokerage at 1 by 8%. So 1 by 8% of rupees 9,000, that is 11.25. And also stamp fee is there, rupees 80 is paid by Mr. A. Then the total amount paid by Mr. A for purchasing these debentures from X Limited, that is 9,541.25. Here 2-month interest accrued for the investment. So in this example, we can see that here the debentures have been purchased on 1st June 2018. Lastly, the interest paid by the company on 31st March. So after 31st March up to 1st June, there are 2 months. A full month of April and May, as it is on 1st June, only 2 months are there, April and May. So we are computing interest for 2 months. Rupees 9,000 is the face value of debentures purchased. 9,000 into 5% for 2 months, 2 by 12, that is rupees 75. So amount to be debited to the investment account is rupees 9,466.25. Here the actual amount paid by Mr. A is rupees 9,541.25, that is inclusive of interest of rupees 75. That's why the normal price of investment or actual cost of investment is only rupees 9,466.25. This amount should be debited to the investment account. The next is sales value of rupees 3,000 debentures on 1st November. On 1st November, as we have seen in our example, there is a sale of 3,000 debentures at rupees 107. Rupees 3,000 debentures means there are sale of 30 debentures, 30 into 100. The selling price is actually rupees 107. That is also inclusive of interest or cum interest quotation. So here, what about the gross sales proceeds? Rupees 3,000 divided by 100 for getting the number of debentures sold, that is 30 number of debentures are sold. Into rupees 107, that is the actual selling price for the debenture. So rupees 3,000 2 ton, that is the gross sales proceeds. Here also brokerage is applicable at 1 by 8%. So the face value of the investment sold is rupees 3,000, brokerage 3,000 into 1 by 8%, that is 3.75. Here the debentures have been sold on 1st November. So what about the period for which interest is due? Here lastly the interest have been received by the investor for the investment, that's on 30th September before 1st November. So there is a time gap between 30th September and 1st November. September is already over, then October. Only 1 month is there in between these two transactions. So we are computing the interest for 1 month for rupees 3,000. 3,000 at 5% for 1 month, 1 by 12, that is rupees 12.5. The total expenses on sales is rupees 16.25. Then the amount to be credited to investment account after deducting these two amounts, that is the selling expenses and also accrued interest for the investment, there is rupees 3,193.75. So 3,193.75 is the amount to be credited in the investment account, and rupees 12.5, this is the amount of 12.5, that is the amount of interest to be credited in books of the investor. So as here is a sale of investment on 1st November, we have to check whether there is any profit or loss on sale of investment. So it is very clear from the statement that selling price of debentures, here the debentures of rupees 3,000 face value have been sold. Already we have computed the amount to be credited to investment account, that is rupees 3,193.75 for these 3,000 debentures. So rupees 3,193.75 is the selling price of the debentures, less the purchase price of 3,000 debentures. How to compute the purchase price of investment? So we are applying the average method for calculation of the purchase price of these 3000 debentures. While purchasing rupees 9000 debentures, the cost incurred by the investor is rupees 9466.25. So simply we are dividing this amount of rupees 9466.25 divided by rupees 9000. And here actually we are selling the debentures, or Mr. A is selling the debentures of rupees 3000 face value just multiplied by rupees 3000. So rupees 3155.42. That shall be the purchase price of 3000 debentures. Here we are comparing the selling price and the purchase price of the debentures or investment. So simply we can say that here the selling price is more than that of the purchase price. Then automatically there will be a profit on sale of investment, that is a difference of rupees 38.33. These are the transactions to be entered in the investment account and interest account accordingly. So just we are putting these items on investment account and interest account. We are preparing an investment account. Investment account here simply refers to 5% debentures of X Limited. Then and also we are noting the things, the date of interest payable by the company X. Interest being payable by the company on 31st March and 30th September. Then we are preparing both these accounts simultaneously, investment account and interest account. The first entry, that is on 1st June 2018 for purchasing the investment. 9000 face value debentures have been purchased on that date. So what could be the accounting entry? The accounting entry already we have mentioned. The accounting entry shall be investment account debtor, interest account debtor to bank account. Investment account and the interest account have been debited and the bank account is credited. So we are posting that entry into the account. Simply here we are putting one more column for showing the nominal value. That is not required. So simply for getting the exact balance amount, for that purpose we are preparing, we are adding one more column. Okay, anyway, on 1st June 2018 to bank, investment account debtor to bank. The nominal value of the debentures purchased, that is rupees 9000. What is the actual amount of investment? That already we have computed, rupees 9466.25, that is the amount to be debited. So that amount is debited here. Okay, in the same way, the accounting entry, the second aspect of the entry is that interest account debtor to bank. On the same day, 1st June 2018, we are crediting the interest account, then to bank account. To bank account, that is rupees 75. Already we have computed here. While purchasing 9000 debentures, there is rupees 75 as the interest. That amount 75 is entered here. The next transaction is happening on 1st November. Then as we discussed earlier, in between these two dates, there is 30th September. On that date, interest is due on the investments. So simply we are passing the entry for interest due on 30th September. So 30th September 2018, the accounting entry for receiving interest for 6 months by bank account. Accounting entry is bank account debtor to interest account. So by bank, 9000, that is the face value of the investment, hold this till date, into 5% is the rate of interest for the debenture for 6 months. So rupees 225 is the amount of interest received on 30th September 2018. The next transaction is happening on 1st November 2018. On 1st November 2018, Mr. A is selling rupees 3000 debentures to someone else. So there is a transaction of sales on that date. So the accounting entry for sales, as we seen earlier, bank account debtor to investment account to interest account. So what is the amount of bank account that is to be credited to the investment account? Already we have seen the case of sales, the sales value of 3000 debentures on November 1, the amount to be credited to the account is rupees 3193.75 and the interest included here is rupees 12.5. So that transaction is entered in this particular account. Then first one, on 1st November 2018 by bank account, nominal value of the debentures rupees 3000, the amount is rupees 3193.75. On the same date in interest account on 1st November by bank, the amount of interest that is rupees 12.5. Then after that we are closing our account on 31st December. So before that, before closing the account, we have to check there is whether profit or loss on sale of the investment. Already we have seen in the previous slide that there is a profit on investment of rupees 38.33. So that amount should be shown in the investment account on 1st November itself. The entry is investment account up to profit and loss account. The amount of rupees 38.33 is entered there. And thereafter we are closing the investment account. The total of nominal value is rupees 9,000, but on the credit side there is only rupees 3,000. There is a difference of rupees 6,000. That is balance carried down on December 31. And also we are closing the or balancing the amount column. On debit side there is 9,504.58, but on the credit side there is only amount of rupees 3,193.75. There is a difference of rupees 6,310.83. That is the balance carried out on 31st December. In the same way, here also we are passing one more entry on December 31. Then as we discussed earlier, in sometimes there may be a difference between the interest due date and the actual closing of account, date of closing the account. Here the interest is due. As we discussed earlier, the interest is due on 30th September. Finally, last interest due on 30th September, but the account has been closed on 31st December. So there is a period of 3 months, October, November and December. 3 months interest are accrued on the investment till the date of 31st December. So the amount of rupees 75 that is computed here as rupees 6,000. 6,000 here means already we have 9,000 rupees debentures minus 3,000 rupees debentures sold. Then the difference of rupees 6,000 at a 5% for 3 months, that is rupees 75. Thereafter we are closing the interest account. On the credit side we are having a total of rupees 312.50. At the same time there is only rupees 75 on the debit side. So the difference of 237.50 can be seen on the debit side. That should be transferred to profit and loss account at the end of the accounting period, December 31, to profit and loss account rupees 237.5. The next is the case of the columnar investment account. Then as we discussed earlier, in the case of the concerns, if they have multiple investments or more than 1 or 2 investments, they have to prepare a separate investment ledger to show all the investment accounts in that particular accounting period. So there are 3 columns on both sides in columnar investment account. In a typical account we can say there are only 2 amount columns on debit and credit sides, but here we have 3 columns on both the debit and credit sides. The first column nominal value, second column interest or dividend, and third column for the capital and principal. The interest or dividend column always shows a credit balance representing the interest or dividend for the period and will be carried to profit and loss account. The interest column or the income column, interest or dividend column, that is the income column, that the income column will always show a credit balance that should be transferred to the profit and loss account at the end of the accounting year. This is the specimen for a columnar investment account. Investment account, the interest payable on so and so date. Then thereafter we are preparing the investment account. There are 5 columns on both sides, date, particulars, and 3 amount columns, nominal value, income, capital respectively. Here the nominal value is the face value of the securities purchased. Income is either interest or dividend, depends on the nature of the security. Then the amount of capital, that is the actual cost of investment. In the same way, on the credit side, we have 5 columns, date, particulars, nominal value, income and capital. Then we are discussing the same example as we discussed earlier, how to prepare a columnar investment account for this particular example. The same example, same calculations. Already we have, while purchasing the debentures, interest rupees 75 and cost of investment rupees 9,466.25. And also on sale on 1st November, the amount credited to the investment account rupees 3,193.75 and the interest included here is 12.5. Profit on sale of investment there is rupees 38.33. Simply we are putting all these items into a columnar investment account. By preparing a columnar investment account, we need not to prepare an additional interest or dividend account. Already this columnar investment account includes a column for showing the income, that is the interest or dividend. Okay, so just we are putting the items on this particular account. On 1st June 2018, while purchasing the investment of 9,000 rupees 9,000 debentures, the accounting entry as we seen, the accounting entry is investment account debtor, interest account debtor to bank. So to bank, nominal value is rupees 9,000, interest on the transaction on 1st June, that is rupees 75 due. The capital amount as we computed earlier, rupees 9,466.25. Then on 30th September, as we discussed earlier, the interest is actually received by the investor from the company. So by bank, the amount is shown only on interest column, that is rupees 225. Then on 1st November 2018, there is sale of investment. Then the accounting entry for sale of investment is bank account debtor to investment account, then to interest account. So in investment account on November 1, by bank account, the nominal value of the debentures sold is rupees 3,000. The interest accrued till date of November 1, that is 12.5. The capital amount as we computed earlier, rupees 3,193.75. Then on 1st November, as there is sale, we are checking whether there is any profit or loss on sale of investment. Then as we computed, we have a profit of rupees 38.33 on sale of investment on 1st November. On November 1st, rupees 38.33 is entered in capital column, that is transferred to profit and loss account. And finally, we are balancing the account on the credit side. While balancing, the nominal value column on debit side is rupees 9,000, but here is only rupees 3,000. There is a balance of rupees 6,000. That is the nominal value of the case. Next one is interest. The interest is accrued for 3 months till the date of December 31. From 30th September to 31st December, there are 3 months. We are computing the interest for these 3 months on rupees 6,000. 6,000 at 5% for 3 months, that is rupees 75. And we are closing the interest column also. Then there is 312.50 on the credit side of interest, but on the debit side there is only rupees 75. There is a difference of rupees 237.5. At the end of the accounting year on 31st December, we are transferring the interest to profit and loss account. To profit and loss account, rupees 237.5. And also we are closing the last column. Then on the debit side, the capital column shows a total of rupees 9,504.54. At the same time, there is only rupees 3,193.75 on the credit side. There is a difference of rupees 6,310.83. That is the balance carried on or balance carry forward to the next accounting year. So these are the areas that we have gone through the discussion. Thank you.